Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. This is Amber. Let me thank our sponsors, then we'll get into this thing. I'd like to thank Mortgage Financial here in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org. And I was contacted by somebody yesterday that wants to come on as a sponsor, so I might be picking up another one. So
Hey, that's
yeah,
awesome.
that's
Come
always
on down.
that's always good. Let me say so. Amber's with the East Texas Food Bank,
That's right.
and we're going to get into that. But I want to say because there's a lot of you listening that aren't from East Texas. We're now in 30, be listened to in 30 states and 9 countries, and over about 25,000 views. So I appreciate that. That being said, this is we're gonna feed hope on this
Yes.
and talk about why you need to help, right? And
Right.
there's some good. We're in the greatest country that's ever been created, and there are people here that live in ways that a lot of us would never understand.
Right.
And there are probably some listening that would understand. But all that said, let's kind of get into that. Kind of give us your bio. You're on the radio a few times with me,
Yeah.
but here we are doing this. So just tell us who you are.
Hey guys, so I'm Amber Adams, Director of Engagement with East Texas Food Bank here in the Texarkana region. Been doing this now for about a year and a half. Time flies.
God, has it already been that
It's
long?
already been that long, and it's really funny how life comes full circle, or if you believe, everything happens for a reason or what you're prepared for.
Right.
So I've done, out of high school years with grocery retail, Kroger to Berkshire Brother corporate, the
Okay.
corporate trainer. And then I was in senior
You
living.
would be a corporate trainer.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, this makes sense. Okay.
Then I was in senior living, loved that for about 5 years, and that's what brought me to Texarkana. And then I was at the Chamber of Commerce and now the food bank. And so when you look, not only is it almost a decade of nonprofit, but it's seniors advocating, helping. And then you've got community and growth and connection and convening.
Right.
And now we're back to feeding, but in a different aspect, right? The grocery store was, hey, check you out, get the lines moving,
Right. All the things.
inventory, warehouse, all the things. But now it kind of all ties together because of what we're doing.
Right.
Right. And so East Texas Food Bank, a lot of people don't know, we've been serving the Texarkana region for 35 years.
Well, and the reason a lot of people don't know that because the main hub of East Texas Food Bank is out of Tyler,
That's right. So
but
we're distributing,
you've
right?
always been
To
sending here.
Texarkana,
Yeah,
been sending here and supporting, and Smith County's like send the money to Texarkana.
right.
So we cover all the way down to Angelina County, a little bit over left of Tyler, and then all the way up to Texarkana.
Okay.
And so that's 20,000 square
I
miles.
started to ask you that, but I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to hang you up on.
No, 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 20,000 square miles, 26 counties, and so that's massive, right? And so we're talking about a very large mission, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, at least in Texas, we're one of the largest food banks because of the square miles that we cover.
I mean, I would guess. And for one of the banks that I worked for that I managed, we were partners with the East Texas Food
Mhm.
Bank. So I've been in your facility. I've packed food there,
Right.
and it's an awesome facility just to see. But then you guys are doing big things with the facility here now.
Oh, yeah, so that's another reason I think people think we're new is because a year ago, we opened what's called the Texarkana Resource Center. So what that is we have 4 across Texas. This all came from a strategic plan in 2021 that said, "Where's the highest deficit? What's the highest need? And how do we meet that need?" Right? And so they came up with resource centers. And
Okay.
so ours in Texarkana is off South Lake Drive, 3019 South Lake Drive. A lot of people know that it's next to the Dairy Queen.
There you go.
And it's an old Family Dollar, reduce, reuse, recycle that we went in. And so we've got Texarkana, Tyler, Longview, and Lufkin.
Oh, I
And
didn't
so
realize you were in love.
those are the 4 resource centers that we have,
Okay.
right? And so again, it was the highest deficit. We've been open a year. And in that year alone, just at the resource center, this doesn't include pantry partners that we have, programs, just the resource center, we've done over 16,000 households and 1.2 million meals
Here in Texarkana,
here in Texarkana.
1.2 million meals, and it's a staggering number. And I talk about feeding all the time, and not to make this political, but it is what I do. But you know, we support so many children here through
Mhm.
school program, and I'm not advocating against it. I'm for feeding people.
Right,
um,
right.
but the need is great, is where I'm
Mhm.
trying to get it to, because the school districts provide lunch and all that, but they've got to eat other than that,
Right.
and so it's going to come a lot of times. through you all.
Right. And I thought about it the other day. I'm sure you've seen a meme online and it's kind of a joke towards kids, but it's like, oh, imagine having a really hard day and then I got to go home and take care of my kid.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those kind of memes, but then I thought about imagine if you had a really hard day and you come home and you're hungry
Right.
and you've
There's
got
nothing
no
you can do.
food.
Yeah.
Or add you've got kids and no food.
Right. It's a weird world, and then there are people that would say, "Oh, well, this and that, whatever choices got there, doesn't the kid never deserves."
Right.
And
The
so,
kid does, and the families and adults either, because life happens. Like
right.
people do not understand. We have testimonies in our newsletters. Just life just keeps, as Theo Von, life keeps lifing, and
Yeah, that's right.
and sometimes that's just what it is until you finally get that break. And we also know that neighbors that come through our lines, it's seasons.
Right.
It's season. Nobody wants to be in line forever. Nobody
No.
wants to ask for help forever, right? And so that's what we're seeing and we have seen being open in this year. And so it's fighting hunger, feeding hope, and really just trying to drive that home for people. Our vision is a hungry free East Texas and like
Man, wouldn't
what
that be
that would look
amazing?
like. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing, Zach, to be like, hey, can you find me a job? Because everybody in this surrounding area has food.
You know, and because look, I look at the statistics of people that listen to this show or
Mhm.
watch the show, and the overwhelming majority consume this show through iPhone. Like the
Yeah.
statistics will show you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a $1,500 phone, right? So even if you have it and you're like, oh, I can't afford Starbucks today, or I can't afford Chick-fil-A,
Right.
or there's a chance you're not going home opening the cabinet and there's nothing in
Right, there's something.
there.
Like, even like me, single gal, I don't like to cook. It
Right,
may not be the best options, but it's something to have for dinner,
right.
but that's my own choice,
Yeah, no, that's right.
Girl dinner.
No, that's exactly
But that reality of really not knowing where your next meal is coming from. So in East Texas, again, there's 26 counties, 1 in 5 adults don't know where their next meal is coming from, 1 in 4 kids, and 1 in 3 single moms.
man, that's it's a staggering statistic, I
Right.
guess you could call it, and
Right.
but that's the reality and um with this being Hunger Action Month,
Yeah.
that's what you're here to talk about. What is Hunger Action Month? Is it coming out and making people aware of stuff like this?
Yes, so just like other, you see, oh, it's breast cancer awareness, it's ALS, like all this. So it's done through Feeding America.
Okay.
So for the month of September, we're really highlighting hunger, wherever you're at feeding. It could be across the US, but particularly Texas and East Texas. And
Right.
so it's just for the whole month. We're doing like today's wear orange. So I kind of got my orange shirt.
Boom, baby.
Hi,
You didn't
I
even
should I
tell
know
me.
I should have told you. You
Mind
knew.
meld.
You knew, and so it's Hunger Action Month, and so all month long, we're just putting out information, bringing awareness that, and it's conversations people don't wanna talk about,
Right.
and it's hard, and it is, but what you don't know, you don't know. So, again, maybe people don't wanna talk about it, but I've learned, like, we just don't know.
Well, one and I think you guys give a lot of food to this. One of a large distribution center here is at a church in Pleasant Grove.
Mhm.
And they're giving out, I think they used to do it on Tuesdays. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah,
But if you ever pull behind there on a Tuesday, you would see a line, and it's in a neighborhood that you would never expect. And
right.
and look, obviously people come from other places, but this is a reality and it's embarrassing, right?
Yeah,
And whether it should be or whether it shouldn't be,
right,
it's a hard conversation, and it's
right,
easy for us all to say, "Oh, I'm gonna worry about getting little Susie to dance, little Johnny to football, and oh, I've got bills to pay, and oh, I've got this to do, and I've got to worry about all this,"
right.
and just not talk about right because everything's okay when you just don't talk about it, right?
Right,
If you just don't think about it, it's not real.
yeah, let alone asking for help. And so that's something else I've learned too in trying to change this narrative, or as I say, flip the script on hunger,
Right?
is, advocating for neighbors in Texarkana. And I understand I get it. I'm a community girl. We want things to stay
You are.
local.
You're everywhere.
Thank you. And we want things to stay local. And I get that. But we also service Cass County, Morris County, Red River, and et cetera, right?
Right.
And so what we have to remember is neighbors will come from Cass County to get help.
Right.
Neighbors in Bowie County will go further out to get help because they don't want to be seen.
Right.
And so a lot of times we have to remember hunger goes beyond Texarkana. So not even Texarkana, we service Bowie County,
Right.
right? So we've got neighbors in Maud, New Boston, Hooks. And on top of that, when we sit here and go, oh, it's got to stay in Texarkana, these people come to Texarkana for work. They're
Yeah.
paying in tax dollars. They're trying to help just as much in this economy
Yeah.
the best they can. So we got to think a little bit broader here.
Right.
We county, it goes
Yeah.
beyond that.
Well, if you would just even break, and most of my listeners know, we talk about state house races and U.S. house races and all the way our government works. Well, our state house district and even our federal house district, we're considered, but especially our state house district, we're a rural area.
Yeah,
We don't have, and even the setup of our county and our county governance, because Bowie County has 99,000 and some change people, so we're less than 100,000 people. So we're, even if you're in Texarkana, maybe it doesn't seem as
right,
rural, but we're considered a rural area, and so there are people coming from way off that need help, and I promise you, this is where they can get it.
right, exactly. And a lot of times people don't make the connection too when we talk about life happens. So it's not always about neighbors and, struggling paycheck to paycheck. Emergencies happen.
Hmm.
Floods, fires, and so we've got that stored at our warehouse,
Right.
ready to go when that happens,
Yeah.
and so people forget about the importance of food banks in that aspect too.
You see, I've never even put it into that
Yeah, when
context.
you think of, when something so traumatic happens, and so now we've gotta feed the law enforcement, the firefighters, the families now that are without homes and this and
Right.
that. We've got it on pallets and pallets stacked up, ready to go at any time when the hurricane or the forest fires or you name it happens.
So let me ask you this: being that well, you're a resource center, correct? So that, explain, I guess, the inner workings of that for me.
Yeah.
How you get your pallets? Like, if I bring some food to you, is it going to?
Mhm.
How does all that work?
Yeah, so just kind of think of it like a grocery store in the sense. So we get our own distribution from our warehouse,
Okay.
and all of our resource centers are run truly by three full-time employees.
Okay.
Shout out to the Texarkana team there, Shan, the manager, Eva and Aaron. But every resource center is only three full-time employees, serving
Wow.
about 14 to 1600 households a month.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't do it without volunteers, right?
Right.
But if someone from the outside, whether it be a realtor,
I am a
yeah,
realtor.
you are a realtor, retail or schools, you want to do a food drive, you would then bring it and they Shan weighs it and they go
Right.
through it and then that converts to pounds
Okay.
from
Right.
there, right? And so we talk about that too. We love food drives. Everybody loves to see the impact they've done. It's fun, it's community, it's challenging. But at the end of the day, it's only really 1% of our fundraising.
Right. Well,
And so we do what's called virtual food drives, which came out of COVID. So we can take $1 and make 5 meals. So I try
isn't
to
that
tell
wild?
people, like, you can work smart or hard. We love food drives,
Right.
but 1 can makes 1 can,
And this is the way yeah, one can makes one can, where $1 makes
5
five.
meals. Yeah.
And this is one thing I've always said. It's like, let me tell you what aggravates me the most. We'll segue here for a little
Okay.
bit, and we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
I promise I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're fine.
Whenever I see somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, we're gonna have a bake sale for little Johnny's football team," or "We're gonna make whatever and do this, and we're gonna spend all Saturday doing this," I'm always like, "Hey, if all these parents would go to work for one extra day
Yeah.
and just give that money, it would be more than whatever they're gonna do right here." So, same with you. If you're gonna have a food drive, you could do that, or you could take that each dollar and
Mhm.
make it.
Double the impact,
Yeah,
triple the impact.
yeah.
So that and bring your kids to volunteer,
There you
win-win.
go.
So then they get life lessons and they get to see and you're doing bigger impact there,
Right.
right? And so to your question, so yeah, anytime somebody wants to do that, they can get in touch with me, they can call Shan. And again, we love it. We love to see that too. When they're
Right.
bringing cans and jars of peanut butter and anything that they want to donate, like our neighbors love that too. And it helps our cost and our budget
Right.
too. So we're forever grateful for however people want to be involved.
And you mentioned that I was a realtor, and I don't know if you know this part about me. I manage some rental properties,
Hmm.
and you see, really, you see families of all stations of life in
Right.
there, and there's no doubt, because I've talked to some of the people that rent these properties. There's no doubt that there are times in the month that they are dependent
Right.
upon you guys
Right.
for. So, and we are talking about my daughter earlier, but there are times when she's with me when I have to go out and address an issue or see a call. And she just looks, but I'm like, "Hey," and I'm getting back to your bring your kid to volunteer. It's good for them to see
Right.
these things. This is the real world. You don't have to scare them with it. You don't have to intimidate them with it, but this is what people are going through. This is real life. It could be you.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're having it with a giving heart and you're gracious about it and you're kind. Now don't be a pushover and let people walk over you, but but be kind
Yeah.
about it.
Well, we
Eh,
did that with TISD. They did a day that's the Lighthouse group decided who they wanted to give to, and their focus was homelessness.
yeah,
So between us, Mission Texarkana, Randy Sam's, and Harvest, they raised money, but then they had a day where they spread out tables
right.
and they could come through at each table and get various things, right? And
Yeah.
there was a young girl there, first time they'd done something like this, and her father was there with her, but she said, "I've never seen poor people."
Mm.
And I looked at her, and I think she's maybe 3rd grade, innocent,
Right,
right?
yeah,
Really
she
didn't,
didn't know.
but that was the best way she could communicate what she's seeing.
Uh-huh.
She's like, "I've never seen poor people." And I looked at her and said, "Yes, you have. You just don't know it."
Well,
Right?
as a former bank manager, I managed 3 different banks. We all see poor people every day, we just don't know it. You don't know
Mhm.
about what they drive, you don't know about what they
Right.
wear, but when you when you see those accounts, there are a lot of people hurting that will utilize a food bank,
Right.
that need help, that you're never gonna see it.
Right. Well, one time I was gonna meet, with a banker here in town at the resource center to give him a tour, and our neighbors, they're outside and for a bit until they come in. And in my peripheral, I saw suit tie combo, and I'm like, "Oh, that's him." And I look and I'm like, "Oh, that's a neighbor."
Right,
And so to that point of you never know who's standing outside
right.
because it's bipartisan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Hunger's bipartisan. It does not matter how old, does not matter race, religion, politics,
all that goes away.
all that goes away. And even seeing like one time there were two precious senior ladies and they were dressed up to the best of their ability. And it just broke my heart because you're like, that's somebody's grandma. And then you wonder, does her family even know that she's coming here?
Let me tell you just since this is about food and hunger.
Yeah.
So there's one thing I figured out. The first bank I ever managed was inside of Walmart, okay? And so you're sitting there and you're just kind of watching people
Yeah.
all day, watch, watch, watch. And then I would notice close to the end of the month, especially over some months, a few old ladies would always come and buy all this cat food, okay? And I at first I was like, how many cats does this woman own? And I'm like, this is your crazy old cat lady. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is what this has to be. And then next month she came back and had more. I'm like, how much are these cats eating? And it kept on, and it probably took me. You've met me. I'm not shy,
Mhm.
and so finally I just went out there. And I said, "Hey, lady, what are you doing with all this cat food?" I said, "I'm not trying to be rude. Just been watching."
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, this is what I eat.
Yikes.
This is high in protein. It's cheap. I can buy so much of it that when I run out of food at the end of the month, I know this will carry me until my next check comes in." That it doesn't get any more real
Right.
than that right there. And then it's like well, I talked about it the other day. It's called the Overton window, right? What you see the world through. Once you shift it, now you've got that, and then now your view is expanded, and everything that you know is expanded. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is real world,
Real world.
And I don't remember how old it was, 20 something, and I think I was 28, 27, 28. Anyway, that has no, but for 28 years up to that point, I had never considered that.
Mhm.
Then I start watching. She's not the only one. And it's not just 5, and it's not
Right.
there's 15 or 20 people each month that are coming through buying dog and cat food so that they
Amazing.
can survive.
Thank you,
So
Lord, that I've never had to do that.
oh,
I
no,
mean, in
no,
that moment,
no,
truly,
no doubt.
truly.
Yeah, hallelujah. Because that's what it hit me like. These people, whatever, and here's the deal. Whatever life choice, life situation has led you to that, it's heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, East Texas Food Bank," da 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 da. You guys are serving something that most of the world, including myself, not the world, most of the country, because the lowest 1% of the U.S.
Right.
is the top 99. We're the top 1% of the world. Anyway, most of the country will never deal with the fact that there's an old lady, that there's an old man out there eating cat and dog food to survive.
Yeah.
No matter their choices, I don't want that for anybody.
Right. And a lot of times people don't realize the resource center is supplemental.
Right.
It's not going to last a month. It's to get them through to the month.
That's right.
And so when we're not open, we've got strategic hours, 10:30 to 1:30 and then 3:30 to 5:30, Monday through or Tuesday through Friday. And it's done strategically. So if they can't get to us, neighbors, they can go to our pantry partners in the area.
Right. How many of those do you guys have in the area?
I have to count just Bowie County, but I know in total of the 26 counties between programs and about 200.
So it's out there. Well, and that was my deal with watching these situations. It wasn't for the month. It was
Right.
they were supplementing
Just getting
protein. It
through.
just
And so something else, let's tie that back in to food and protein is what's really unique about East Texas Food Bank and particularly these resource centers is how we're serving, like
mm,
how we're going after hunger because it's this idea set up semi like a grocery store,
right.
but it's dignity. So it's
That's
already hard enough to stand outside in line, get a number,
exactly
wait to be
right.
seen, and then you go through, but then you get a shopping cart and
Yeah.
you go through and you get to pick your items.
Right.
So whether you're a mom, a caretaker, and you have options. And there's nothing wrong with food boxes like, hey, here's your box, see you next month or see you next week.
Right.
But when we look at it and you've got a jar of peanut butter and your child's allergic, waste. You've got several cans of sweet peas. Kids hate peas, right? Waste. So now you get to go through and you get to pick items that you know that your family or
Right.
whoever you're taking care of or just yourself might need, but also there's less risk. So let's say you've never tried black beans.
Mhm.
Are you going to spend money on black beans or pay the light bill?
Right. That's
But then
exactly
we also know how good black beans are for us,
right.
right? And so the other cool thing that we do is providing fresh produce for neighbors.
That's a that's a big deal, and it's a big miss a lot of times.
Right.
Everybody, what's every food drive you've ever heard of? Bring your canned goods.
Right.
Bring your canned
Right.
goods. Bring non-perishable food items.
Yes, and so it's this idea too that, yeah, our main lane is to feed, but we know with health outcomes in East Texas are not good,
Mhm.
right? So obesity, cholesterol, diabetes, you name it. And we know
You said that with such
it's just keeps going. We're like, keep going.
Here we go.
See? Yeah. And so we look at that and then we go, okay, well, produce is expensive.
Yeah.
And so if you've got a family that's having to look between do I feed or do I pay a light bill or keep, rent or mortgage? But then now we're picking bad choices of food
Yeah.
because it's cheaper. Let's be honest. Doritos are cheaper than a thing of blueberries.
Let me pause you on an aggravating thing about produce. As the dad to a 10, we like apples and bananas in my
Mhm.
house. And sometimes, because friends come over and all the
Yeah.
things, and we'll knock out bananas and apples like it's nobody's business. And then I buy them, and they just sit there, and it makes me want to murder people because I'm like, what are we doing with these bananas? Well, I didn't want any. Oh, you ate 17 bushels in the last month,
Right.
and now we're not. Anyway,
Banana
sorry.
pudding. That's what that
Yeah,
happens. Okay.
or banana bread. She
Right.
makes
Something.
banana bread.
Smoothie. Make it happen. And so it's this idea produce is expensive, but they can come in, neighbors can come in and try it at risk free,
Right.
right? So one time we had a neighbor, she didn't know what a mango was.
Mm,
First time she's ever tried one. So then you think bigger picture. If she doesn't know what a mango is, does she know how to cook it, store it, clean it, and understand truly what it could do for your body?
right.
So we also have a dietitian team
Really
with East Texas Food Bank and working on some partnerships via Zoom or them coming here and putting on classes.
awesome.
So this idea too. So it's just this bigger picture of this mission. It's so much
Right.
more than feeding. It's community. It's I see you. You have a purpose. It's okay that you're here. But they sit around a table with dietitian team and they learn how to cook and learn how to store and learn how to do. So all that to say is produce is expensive and life is expensive. But if we don't take care of our neighbors now, it's going to be real expensive in the long run.
Even in just the health cost.
Healthcare and senior care when neighbors become of that age, right?
Yeah.
And so again, it's that and produce is expensive. And then the 1 year that we've been open at this resource center, again, just the resource center alone, over 1,000,000 pounds of produce.
Isn't that here's another little thing you don't know about me. My grandfather was a watermelon farmer,
Oh, wow.
and so, uh, sat on the back of a whole lot of watermelon trucks, but also have seen watermelon and so the way if you're going to go to South Texas and buy watermelons to bring them to Hope so that because they're ready in South Texas before they're ready in Hope,
Right.
right? So, but you want to start selling them in summer, but local watermelons aren't ready till after the 4th of July, where South Texas watermelons are ready at the 1st of June.
Mhm.
So you go get them. Well, the way you do that, and this is why the million pounds thing hits me of produce.
Yeah.
You pay whatever cents per pound is how you buy a truckload of watermelon. So you drive across a scale
Mhm.
and then you weigh your truck and your trailer, and then you go load the watermelon all on the truck and the trailer, and then you come back and you might pay maybe I don't know what it would be today. I don't know. At one point, it's 43 cents a pound,
Yeah.
and so however many pounds times 43 cents. So I grew up not calculating, but watching how much actual pounds of produce was. So when you say 1,000,000 pounds, I can picture trucks of watermelons that and so it's just what's reality. So for me, it's like, oh, that's a whole lot of trucks of watermelons.
Yeah.
So anyway, to go there, so 1,000,000 pounds of just produce.
Yeah. Just out of the resource center. So again, on our website, there's a tab that says find food. And I tell this to everyone because A, you never know who may need it.
Right.
B, you might need it at some point. I don't wish that on anybody, but you never know. So there's a button that says find food, and you can do the drop down of Bowie, Cass, wherever you're at in East Texas. And it'll do a live population of who our pantry partners are and who's then you can filter it. Like if you need senior box or
Right.
only on a Saturday, it'll pre-populate what's available to
Right.
the need right then and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I just had this thought too. Just to give everybody the picture in their mind, the average semi truck loaded driving down
Mhm.
the road will weigh 90,000 pounds.
It's wild.
And so, which is also why you don't pull out in front and stop in front of them because
Yeah, let's not do that,
they're
guys.
gonna kill
Yeah.
you. But so 1,000,000 pounds.
Yeah, that's wild. And, it's really cool. I mean, the way curiosity and thinking, and one time I was headed to Lufkin, and I'm driving along, and all of a sudden I look over, and there was an East Texas Food Bank 18-wheeler.
That
I'm
make you
like,
proud.
Service, East Texas, go serve our neighbors. This is amazing because you're reminded, especially in my role, how minuscule it is to this large operation.
Right.
So, one time I went into the resource center and there was on a pallet this huge bag of potatoes. And I'm short. Most people don't know I'm shorter than I even look because I wear heels most of the time.
Oh, do you?
Yes. And so I was in heels and this bag of potatoes was almost as tall as I am. And I'm sure if I took my heels off, we'd be
Oh,
even. 5'2".
okay.
And so heels,
Yeah, I got you.
and it depends on how big the hair is
Yeah,
too,
it is. Yeah,
And
closer to
yeah,
Jesus.
right. And so I leaned up again, and I have a photo of it up against these potatoes, and I'm looking in this bag, and it's massive. And you think, man, a farmer planted that, who then picked it up, who then put it on a truck, and the truck brought it to Tyler, and then Tyler
There's a
drivers
lot.
brought it to us. And then our team is putting it out to neighbors and helping feed, and I'm just here trying to advocate and help. Like I'm
Yeah,
just the storyteller and connecting the dots and
there you
trying to
go.
get some money raised. But again, it's reminded like it takes everybody to make this happen. It takes community.
Right,
And we could not do it without all the other hands involved. And you
right.
think about how many people touch the potatoes to
Yeah.
get to these families. And so it's just wild. And I absolutely love it when you,
What's the expense to be able to give it away?
right? Right. And with everything happening, I don't like to talk about it too much because we're still trying to like narrate what we're doing and understanding
Yes.
East Texas Food Bank and everything. But because of the cuts, we're fine. We're just like, how do we do this long term? What's sustainability? But in total, we lost about 18 trucks.
Did you?
Mhm.
Man, that's tough. The economy affects everyone.
Right.
I mean, and we're in a contracting
Right.
economy. No matter how you vote right
Right.
now, it's
And you think about just trying to find workforce, trying to find the drivers
yeah,
to do that too, and the cost of fleets and the cost and the regulations of that. And so again, there's so much more behind the scenes that people what sometimes again we don't think about or we tend
Right.
to not
It's
put
easy not
together.
to.
Right, right. And so it's just been really fascinating and a really cool story I'd like to share about the Fighting Hunger, Feeding Hope.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I really talk about this with people. So I have a donor. He's outside. He's in New Boston, and he's given for quite some time. He's very aware of what we do. But he called me one day and was like, "Hey, I want to come take a tour."
Mm.
Which that's normal. We would love to give tours to anybody listening if you'd like to come see it. Um, and so I wasn't really thrown off by it, but I was like, okay. So he comes, and it kind of brought back when I worked in senior living. And it's just like our neighbors. When you come through the door, something in your life has happened. Something has happened. Right. So in my mind, I'm like, well, okay, something's happened, but like, why is he here? Besides seeing maybe where his money's going or, just seeing the operation live in action, I'm like, something's happened. So, we sit down, we talk, we tour. And about 30 minutes in, he goes, okay, the real reason I'm here. And I'm like, "Fuck,
Ah,
I knew it. I knew it. So,
jerking the
right. I
mask
was like,
off,
ah, I
Scooby
was
Doo.
right. Something's happened.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, man, maybe he needs services because he's a retired military, retired postal. I mean, amazing man. And he goes, "I need something to do because I mean, basically said he's lonely."
Yeah.
And then, so we talk about volunteering and what that would look like for him. And so, at some point this fall, him and I will do it together. And I'm always game to volunteer with people, just throwing that out there. And so he's going to come back. And it just reminded me, and a lot of people don't know this because of my time in senior living. Loneliness in seniors is like 18 cigarettes a day. That's how detrimental it is to seniors' health.
Golly.
So when we think about it, we have a gentleman who not only believes in the mission and he gives monetarily. Now he needs us
To
to
help
help
him.
combat loneliness in
Yeah.
his life. So I always tell people it's so much more than feeding, like
Yeah.
literally helping feed neighbors. We're fueling and feeding souls.
Yeah.
And so neighbors we have found too, they come and they receive services, then they come back and volunteer.
I just gotta let you know, when I run for whatever political office one day, I'm gonna need you to be my
I
spokesperson.
got you.
I mean,
Ready.
we're gonna make it happen.
No, truly, and you think about it because when life is in hard times and you don't have much, what can you give?
Yeah.
Time. That's what
Sure.
people have, regardless of what pay scale you're on. We all have
Precious
time.
time.
It's the most precious thing in life because we're not getting it back,
Yeah.
and it's not guaranteed even 2 minutes from now,
No.
right? So we're not remiss when people come and help.
According to TikTok, we're all leaving next week anyway.
I don't know. I just hope I have my lashes and my hair looks good being
Hey,
bored.
that's what I
Don't take me out the Dollar General. Take me out in Neiman's. Thank you.
that's exactly. But anyway, this old man, he he believed in your mission so much, and he gave monetarily. Like I said, also, I'm sure it was fulfilling to him to come back and give time and to just
Right,
have some association.
right. And structure, right?
Yeah,
Because when you're retired, and I know he stays busy just by what he's told me, and he's a very structured man because of his experience in the military and working for the post office.
right.
He needs that. And so, what better way than to pick your times, pick your hours, which you can do on our website, and then come
What
and
is that
it's
website?
so East Texas Food Bank. .org and there is a tab that says resource centers and you'll find Texarkana and then there's a calendar and you have to create an account but
Which
then
we
you can
all know how to do.
right,
Anybody that asks
right.
if I don't know how to do it,
If
it's just
don't, we
lazy.
can help, but, then you can just select your times and come and help, and there's so much in the resource center, and Shan, the manager there, can help, so we always say he was very stoic, but really wasn't a social butterfly, and I mean that the nicest way, so we're not gonna put him at the front welcoming.
Yeah,
He'd rather be in the back of the warehouse or stocking shelves because he's like the checklist kinda
yeah,
guy, and so, again, if you're the social butterfly, great, answer the phones,
you're right.
do some admin work,
But
but
if
we're
you hate people, that's
right. It all goes back to volunteering. I think a lot of people go, "Oh, I'm gonna go volunteer," truly, like, on a Saturday morning because you're not doing something you're passionate about.
right.
So if you really don't love dogs, don't go to the animal shelter.
Sure.
If seniors aren't your thing, and that's okay, don't go to the nursing home.
Yeah.
If kids are your thing, go somehow help kids. Like,
Which
find your niche of passion where it doesn't feel like work because 'cause you're just like, "Man, this is great 2 hours, wanna spend it making a difference."
side note,
Yeah.
as someone who's volunteered at nursing homes, it's real fulfilling and they're a blast.
Oh, I love it.
Like,
I love it.
it's a trip. And because I don't know. I could sit in here by myself and just have a great time. But I mean,
Right.
I can have a great time wherever I go. But I mean, it's just fun. Volunteering is
It's
fulfilling
so much
if
fun,
you figure
right?
if
And
you
there's so
find
much
your way.
wisdom and stories there. And I always joke, I'm the youngest and prettiest one there when I go, and they think that about me. So if you need an ego boost,
Boom.
and then I used to sing for residents, so then they think I'm the best singer in the world.
See, they have me move furniture,
See, yeah,
and then they're like, "You're so strong." I'm like, "This is a Walmart chair, but
yeah. You're like,
let's
thank
go,
you so
baby."
much. Let me help you out.
Yeah. So you said you have a luncheon coming up. What we got going with
Yes.
that?
So that's just I'm so excited about this and what the purpose of this for this bigger mission, right? 'Cause that's what we're always thinking about.
Yeah.
Future big mission. So the luncheon is November 7th
Uh-huh.
and it's called Texarkana Gives. First time we're doing this,
Okay.
and there's a reason why. So sponsorships are available, and so get in touch with me as well as if you'd like to host a table. So we're doing that a little different. So if you want to host a table, it's about $300, and you find 7 of your friends that can come in the room and go, "Hey, we want to change the outcomes in Bowie County, Texarkana area."
So that's a Friday.
It's a Friday luncheon at the convention center, Texas side.
Okay.
And so this luncheon's whole purpose is every dollar that is raised at this luncheon is helping fund the holiday distribution.
Which,
Yeah, let's talk. What's a holiday distribution?
yeah,
Great question. I'd love to answer that for you.
yeah.
So, holiday
Thanks,
distribution,
me.
we're doing that in Lufkin and Tyler, and this year Texarkana.
Okay.
And this is where this year it'll be in Liberty Island Middle School, and they're bringing pallets and pallets of food, but it's holiday boxes.
I was just trying to think of where the Liberty Island Middle School is.
I don't know the address off the top of my
No, I
head.
wouldn't expect you to. I mean, obviously we can find it out.
Everybody Google.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna come, but here's the beauty of it. So, we do it sometime usually between Thanksgiving and Christmas so that families can have holiday boxes,
Right.
right? And so Texarkana's is coming December 22nd.
Okay. I mean, right in time.
Right in time. So when you think, because a lot of people, again, what we don't know, right at the holidays, especially when neighbors are in need of food and families need food, schools are closed
Right.
because it's school break. Churches sometimes are closed, depending if they've got the staff, depending when the holiday falls. And then a lot of our pantries are closed because they're volunteers and they want to be with their families.
Yeah.
So then the resources become very limited.
Right.
So now we think we're going to have this massive distribution that's going to feed families so that every family will have a holiday meal at the table.
Yeah.
You talk about Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
You talk about holiday magic. It's the season to not go hungry, okay?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
That's
And
right.
so, but not only is this a huge cost, let's be honest, that's why we're having this luncheon. It's logistics, right? So we're going to need the manpower, the
Yeah.
volunteers. We've got the space. And then just to think these 18 wheelers are going to come in and we're just putting boxes of holiday boxes in families' cars. And we've seen people will drive 30, 45 minutes out in these rural areas
Mhm.
to come and get a holiday box. And you have to think to drive that far just to get a box of food,
Right.
it's pretty serious,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
because if you're worried about your food, you're worried about your gas.
Right.
And so, I mean, to make that sacrifice, you
And
know,
hope that it's there when you get there because, I mean, we will serve until we run out,
right.
and it can be anywhere from 700, about 1,200 more households, and the amount of cars that come
Wow.
through, like, it's gut-wrenching,
Yeah.
but it also reminds you of, like, "This is why we're doing
This
this.
is what we're for.
This is what we're for."
So, to the luncheon on the 7th
Mhm,
of November, Friday,
mhm.
what time is it?
From 11 to 1
11 to 1, $300 a table.
to host a table.
Okay,
So
which
you've got
means,
sponsorships,
uh,
right? So businesses can sponsor, but hosting a table is a little bit different, and it truly is versus tickets.
uh,
So let's just say, Zach, you're like, I want to host a table,
right,
$300, and then you find 7 of your friends that you're like, man, you got to come hear about this mission.
right,
You got to come listen. So it's the idea that again, we're trying to reach the masses of awareness, but that these friends also know that it is a fundraiser.
right,
So hey, guys, at the end there will be an ask.
right.
So hopefully you're moved enough to be like, yeah, I want to give. And so that's the idea there of hosting a
Gotcha.
table and just
So,
strategically done because we're trying to bring awareness in who
so
we are.
networking. Hey, I'm gonna pay $300 to get this table, and I'm gonna go find 12 people that I believe have a
Yeah,
heart
if
heart
you
for
want
this
to like
mission.
7 people, if you want to
7
get
people.
multiple tables, that's fine too. But
I
your
don't know why I had
table,
12 in the
that's
meeting.
okay. Let's the more the merrier.
Let's
Let's get
dream
them
big,
in. Let's
baby.
get them in. And so yes, so it's and how neat. I always think it's lunch. You get in, get out, and you're making the biggest impact that you possibly could for
Right,
future. And then you have your friends with you.
right.
And again, businesses can sponsor and the same thing, they'll put the sponsorship, your table will be represented. We're just doing it a little bit different because of the outreach
Yeah.
and the awareness and the education, right? So when you've got that many in a room, how many can you touch at one time?
Right.
That's what we're hopefully will happen there.
Okay. So
Yeah.
w- how are you wanting them to get in contact with you about this
They
luncheon?
can call me 903-490-1203. They can
Uh,
email me, A Adams, so AADAMS at easttexasfoodbank.org. And there's also on our landing page on the website. Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
we've got a lot going on in this. There's a couple of things I want to hit before I let you go.
Yeah.
So this has been fun. But you won the local pitch it contest.
Yes.
So tell us
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, we'll have to come back on for a full dive in
Okay.
on that. So literally just came up with an idea with a close friend of mine. We know tourism isn't an issue, but just how can we make it better?
Uh-huh.
Right. And so ran into a family one night. I live downtown. I've seen it in my past work of what I've done of like, it's not quite there, right? And so anyways, ran into a family. It was late Wednesday night, and they're like, "Where can we get merch?" And we're like,
Right.
"Nowhere. It's closed. It's Wednesday night downtown." And so from that moment, an idea was born, and her and I went 30 days before the contest, came up with this idea, created it, and out of 63 contestants, won the entire thing.
And what I don't think, I mean, I think, like I said, most people listening to this show aren't in Texarkana. So
Right.
what they won't know is that we have the second most photographed, which is a crazy claim to fame, second most photographed uh, post office in the country
Yeah.
behind the U.S. Capitol
Right.
building. And so there is merch to be
Oh,
bought
yes,
because
because
of
there's
that.
people there all the time, and so it's this idea. It is a vending machine that'll dispense tourist items 24/7.
That's awesome.
Less risk, no brick and mortar, less overhead, and so that's the goal there. But how cool that I've learned, because we talked about this, is because of COVID, they have vending machines that'll help serve neighbors too. So they have refrigerated lockers that eventually one of my big goals is like, how neat would it be that we get this thing off the ground, multiple machines, different items, but now we can in turn actually serve through some of our vending machines.
Well, and so to tie this in right here before we wrap it up, in your life of service, which it
Mhm,
seems to be,
mhm.
well, you're also going to help some kids.
Oh,
Tell us
yes.
about Casa.
Yeah, so that I have, several
Me,
of my friends one friend works at CASA, and I've seen it, and I've working with the chamber and United Way Impact, so I've been to CASA. I know what they've done, and it wasn't until one day we were walking through, and the lady holds up a piece of paper, and she goes, "This is, the interview room, and this is where they draw or circle what's happened." And, what's funny
heartbreaking.
is I'm visual, but no one's ever showed me that.
Uh huh.
And I literally was almost sick to my
Oh, for
stomach.
sure.
So then I'm like, "Okay, if again, I don't do this, who's gonna do this?" And it was the same way with food bank. Like, if I don't do this, who's gonna do this, right?
Well, and it's golly, I don't remember it's in Ezekiel. I want to say 36. Um, it's talking about the watchers on the wall. If the watchers on the wall won't say anything, then blood will be required from them. It is very clear. We're supposed to watch out for the hungry.
Mhm.
We're supposed to watch out for our children, and not just ours,
Right.
but we're supposed to. You are a watcher on the wall. I am a
Thank you.
watcher on the wall.
Yeah.
That is what we do. And like I told you before we started recording, I didn't know that that's what this was going to become. But it's about watching. It's
Oh, yeah.
about being there, and that's what Casa is.
It is,
It's
and it started making me think about our families that come to the resource center, fight or flight. And then you get fight or flight, and then you get tense, and people are angry, and then that's when bad things happen,
yeah.
right? And so, again, I know I'm not going to change the world overnight, but everything I can do. So then I thought, well, then I found out Miller County has a higher deficit of children that don't have advocates. And I'm like, well, I just moved on that side and I live right by, I can walk to the courthouse. And I'm like, and I don't have kids, which doesn't mean I have ample time because I am busy, but it's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can help because again, everybody's like, we need change. We need to do that. Well, then what are we doing about it?
Yeah.
What are you doing
Don't
about
just
it?
say it.
Right. And so, we talked about that a while ago. I've learned everybody wants to sit under the shade of a tree that nobody wants to plant.
Yeah.
And we've got to be planners and we've got to have these hard conversations. And so I know it's not going to be easy. So whether it's serving our neighbors and having these conversations of their reality and helping them in that aspect, whether it's going to these families of CASA and advocating for these children in front of a judge to say, this is what I feel is going to be best. I'm hoping that it all somehow ties together,
Yeah,
right? And this impact and this change and this need
right.
and bringing a light to the community that little efforts make a big picture. And
Yeah.
in order to make it, you got to get out there and do something, but find the passion in it and find your purpose that it's altruistic. Never find it to look back and go, this is what I'm doing. And that's why I was almost hesitant to even post about that because it wasn't about look at what I'm doing, but it's this
And it didn't
reality.
come off as that way
Oh,
either.
thank you.
Yeah.
And, and I've had people go, "Wow, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about it," or
Oh, everybody's always
"Oh,
thinking
right."
about
And then
everything.
they go, "Oh, well, I'd like to hear more." And I'm like, "Well, kinda you can't because we're not legally not allowed to talk about what
Yeah,
we
if you
see."
hear more, it's because 'cause you're in court
Right,
doing it.
right. And so that just goes back to me. I'm just curious and not
Yeah,
nosy, but I'm just like, "Wait, what?" And just doing your own research and finding out. And at the end of the day, if we can help the children to become better adults, to get them better lives as
stop the
seniors.
cycle.
Stop the cycle. If we can stop sending children to school hungry so they can get a better education and then get a better job and help our economy and Texarkana grow,
Right.
right? So in my mind, I like to think that's where it's starting.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I've got so many statements over that, and I know we're running out of time here, but, um, you hear a lot of people that just apparently have bleeding heart, but then they do nothing. They take no action. And then one thing I was praying about this morning was, God, give us the courage to do what we need to do in this time.
Right.
Send us people like you that
Right.
will step up, will be bold, we'll go fight hunger, we'll go fight for the
Yeah.
children, we'll go be the voice that no one has.
Right.
So thank you for doing that.
Yes,
You
thank
know?
you so much.
Yeah.
And I want to leave you all with this last story. It's a little bit somber, but it is a story that has stuck with me since I started. After I tell you, I probably can't tell it anymore because all the listeners are like, enough with this story. Um, but I believe it happened in one of our resource centers. I want to say Longview, but regardless, it
Right.
doesn't matter where. But family comes in, a mom, two kids, one on the hip, one little bitty toddler running
Mhm.
around. She's stressed out, never been there, embarrassed, mortified. Like you can just see it. And so she's got a baby on the hip and she's given information before she can go through. And this little kid, and children, they're so excited. You can give them a rock and they're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Right.
So
Yeah,
this
that's
kid's
right.
like running around and mom, 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 you know how it is. Mom, mom. And she's like, give me a minute. And she's trying to talk and give me a minute and yanking on her, and
Yeah.
it's just getting more stressful. And you can just feel it. And you're like, that kid's going to get a whooping.
Yeah.
You can just
Which I'm
feel
also
it.
down to see. Like,
Right? You're like,
I'll help your kid, but I'll also watch you beat
right.
your
So
kid.
one of our volunteers saw that and saw like you could cut it with a knife, how thick she was just like
Yeah.
right there on
It's
the
about to
edge.
happen.
And so the volunteer calls the little kid over and says, "Oh, like come here," and gives her an apple. We think it's just an apple.
Yeah,
And again, this is the grandest thing because they're little. Like,
yeah.
look at this. And she goes over to her mom and yanks on her again. And finally, mom's had it.
Yeah, it's it.
She's ready. And she comes around and she's like, "What? What is so important? What?" We've all heard that, right?
Yeah.
And she holds this little apple and she holds it up to her and says, "Is it my turn to eat today?"
Is it my turn to eat today? That's the heart of a kid, right? She didn't know if it was her turn to eat today, but yet she still wanted to make sure everybody else in her family had some.
Yeah, but then it makes you think if stats tell us 1 in 5 adults, 1 in 4 kids, 1 in 3 single moms, when did mom eat?
Yeah,
So that mom could take care of her kids,
that's
so
exactly
that
right.
mom could go to work,
And
right?
they're like, maybe you eat that apple.
Right. You can answer anything. And so again, that's just a story that has stuck with me in a reality. I mean, I can just sit down every night at my dinner and before I'm like, Lord, thank you so much for this food and nourishing my body.
Yeah,
I think about that little girl.
yeah.
Not even know her.
No. Yeah, that's impact.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope God blesses you, and thank you for what you
So
do.
I'm trying to, get stars in my crown and
Yeah,
make it through the pearly
that's right,
gates.
baby. That's exactly right. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. I hope God blesses each and every one of you,
Yes.
and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.